Oh, for a muse of fire that would ascend the brightest heaven of invention, a kingdom for a stage, princes to act, and monarchs to behold the swelling scene. Then should the warlike Harry, like himself, assume the port of Mars, and at his heels, leashed in like hounds, should famine, sword, and fire crouch for employment. But pardon, gentles all, the flat and raised spirits that hath dared on this unworthy scaffold to bring forth so great an object. Can this cockpit hold the vasty fields of France? Or may we cram within this wooden O the very casks that did affright the air at Agincourt? Let our ciphers to this great account on your imaginary forces work. Suppose, within the girdle of these walls are now confined two mighty monarchies, whose high, upreared and abutting fronts the perilous narrow ocean parts asunder. Piece out our imperfections with your thoughts, into 1,000 parts divide one man, and make imaginary puissance. Think, when we talk of horses, that you see them, printing their proud hoofs in the receiving earth. For 'tis your thoughts that now must deck our kings, carry them here and there, jumping o'er times, turning the accomplishment of many years into an hourglass. For the which supply, admit me, chorus to this history, who, prologue-like, your humble patience pray, gently to hear, kindly to judge our play.
Think not I love him, though I ask for him. 'Tis but a peevish boy, yet he talks well. But what care I for words? Yet words do well when he that speaks them pleases those that hear. It is a pretty youth, not very pretty, but sure he's proud, and yet his pride becomes him. He'll make a proper man. The best thing in him is his complexion, and faster than his tongue did make offence, his eye did heal it up. He's not very tall, yet for his years he's tall. His leg is but so, and yet 'tis well. There was a pretty redness in his lip, a little riper and more lusty red than that mixed in his cheek. 'Twas just the difference betwixt the constant red and the mingled damask. There be some women, Silvius, had they marked him in parcels as I did, would have gone near to fall in love with him. But for my part, I love him not, nor hate him not. Yet I have more cause to hate him than to love him, for what had he to do to chide at me? He said mine eyes were black and my hair black, and now I am remembered, scorned at me. I marvel why I answered not again. But that's all one. Omittance is no quittance. I'll write to him a very taunting letter, and thou shalt bear it. Wilt thou, Silvius?
Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her waggon spokes, made of long spinners' legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider's web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film, her waggoner a small grey-coated gnat, not so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut made by the joiner squirrel, or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. O'er courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight, o'er lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, o'er ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out a suit. And sometime comes she with a tithe's pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as lies asleep. Then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, and then dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breaches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of healths 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, swears a prayer or two, and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf-locks in foul, sluttish hairs, which, once untangled, much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them, and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage.
Come live with me and be my love, and we will all the pleasures prove that hills and valleys, dale and field, and all the craggy mountains yield. There we will sit upon the rocks, and see the shepherds feed their flocks by shallow rivers, to whose falls melodious birds bring madrigals. The shepherd swain shall dance and sing for thy delight each May morning, if these delights thy mind may move. Then live with me and be my love.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometime too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometime declines, by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou grow'st. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
And what's he then that says, I play the villain, when this advice is free I give, and honest, probable to thinking, and indeed the course to win the more again? For 'tis most easy the inclining Desdemona to subdue in any honest suit. She is framed as fruitful as the free elements, and for her to win the more wert to renounce his baptism, all seals and symbols of redeemed sin. His soul is so enfettered by her love that she may make, unmake, do what she list, even as her appetite shall play the god with his weak function. How am I then a villain to counsel Cassio to this parallel course directly to his good? Divinity of hell, when devils will the blackest sins put on, they do suggest at first with heavenly shows, as I do now. For whilst this honest fool plies Desdemona to repair his fortunes, and she for him pleads strongly to the more, I'll pour this pestilence into his ear, that she repeals him for her body's lust, and by how much she strives to make him good, she shall undo her credit with the more, and so will I turn her virtue into pitch, and out of her own goodness make the net that shall enmesh them all.
I think Crab, my dog, be the sourest natured dog that lives. My mother weeping, my father wailing, my sister crying, our maid howling, our cat wringing her hands, and all our house in a great perplexity. Yet did not this cruel-hearted cur shed one tear. He is a stone, a very pebble stone, and has no more pity in him than a dog. A Jew would have wept to have seen our parting. Why, my grand dame, having no eyes, look you, wept herself blind at my parting. Nay, I'll show you the manner of it. This shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my father. No, this left shoe is my mother. Oh, nay, that cannot be so neither. Yes, it is so, it is so. It hath the worse a soul. This shoe, with the hole in it, is my mother, and this my father. A vengeance on't. There 'tis. Now, sit. This staff is my sister, for look you, she is as white as a lily, and as small as a wand. This hat is Nan, our maid. I am the dog. No, the dog is himself, and I am the dog. Oh, the dog is me, and I am myself. Aye, so. Now I come to my father. Father, your blessing. Now should not the shoe speak a word for weeping. Now should I kiss my father. Mwah! Well, he weeps on. Now come I to my mother. Oh, that she could speak now like a wood woman. Well, I kiss her. Mwah! Why, there 'tis. Here's my mother's breath up and down. Now come I to my sister. Mark the moan she makes. Now the dog all this while sheds not a tear, nor speaks a word. But see how I lay the dust with my tears.
Farewell, a long farewell to all my greatness. This is the state of man. Today he puts forth the tender leaves of hopes, tomorrow blossoms, and bears his blushing honours thick upon him. The third day comes a frost, a killing frost, and when he thinks, good easy man, full surely his greatness is a ripening, nips his root, and then he falls as I do. I have ventured, like little wanton boys that swim on bladders, this many summers in a sea of glory, but far beyond my depth. My high-blown pride at length broke under me, and now has left me, weary and old with service, to the mercy of a rude stream that must for ever hide me. Vain pomp and glory of this world, I hate ye. Had I but served my God, with half the zeal I served my King, he would not in mine age have left me naked to mine enemies. Oh, how wretched is that poor man that hangs on princes' favours! There is betwixt that smile we would aspire to, that sweet aspect of princes, and their ruin, more pangs and fears than wars or women have. And when he falls like Lucifer, never to hope again.
When shall we three meet again? In thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won.
That will be ere the set of sun.
Where's the place?
Upon the heath.
There to meet with Macbeth.
I come, Grey Malkin.
Paddock pause.
Anon.
Fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and filthy air. Where hast thou been, sister?
Killing swine.
Sister, where thou?
A sailor's wife had chestnut in her lap, and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I. I'll roint thee, witch, the rump-fed Ronion cries. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of a tiger, but in a sieve I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do, and I'll do.
I'll give thee a wind.
Thou'rt kind.
And I another.
I myself have all the other. I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest-tossed. Look what I have.
Show me, show me.
Here I have a pilot's thumb, wrapped as homeward he did come.
A drum, Macbeth doth come.
The weird sisters, hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice to thine and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. Peace! The charms wound up.
So foul and fair a day I have not seen.
What are these, so withered and so wild in their attire? Live you, or are you aught that man may question?
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail, Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis!
All hail, Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor.
All hail Macbeth, that shall be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you start, and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time, and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me.
Hail!
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 Lesser than Macbeth and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail!
Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. I know I am Thane of Glamis, but how of Cawdor?
The earth hath bubbles, as the water has, and these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air, and what seemed corporal melted as breath into wind. Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Thane of Cawdor too. Went it not so?
To the self-same tune and words.
Now I am Thane of Cawdor. Two truths are told, as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. This supernatural soliciting cannot be ill, cannot be good.
Thrice the brinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
Harpier cries, "'Tis time, 'tis time." Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad, that under cold stone days and nights has 31 sweltered venom sleeping got, boil thou fast in the charmed pot. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toad of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blind worm sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing. For a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, moor and gulf of the ravined salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, finger of birth strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab. Add thereto a tiger's children, for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
How now, you secret, black and midnight hags? What is't you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you, by that which you profess, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak.
Demand.
We'll answer.
Tell me.
We know thy thought. Hear our speech, but say thou naught.
Macbeth, 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 beware Macduff, beware the Thane of Fife.
Macbeth, 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 be bloody bold and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live, Macduff. What need I fear of thee? But yet I'll make assurance double sure, and take a bond of fate. Thou shalt not live.
Listen, but speak not. Be lion-mettled proud, and take no care who chafes or frets, or where conspirers are. Macbeth shall never vanquished be, until great Birnam Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That will never be. Who can impress the forest? Yet tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know. Why sinks the cauldron? And what noise is this?
Show his eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart.
A line of 8 kings, and Banquo following. Filthy hags, why do you show me this? What? Will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? horrible sight! What? Is this so?
Aye, sir, all this is so.
Aye, it is so.
All this is so.
Where are they? Gone? Let this pernicious hour stand I accursed in the calendar.
The heavens themselves, the planets, and this centre observe degree, priority, and place, insistia, course, proportion, season, form, office, and custom, in all line of order. Oh, when degree is shaked, which is the ladder of all high designs, the enterprise is sick. How could communities, degrees in schools, and brotherhoods in cities, peaceful commerce from dividable shores, the primogenity and due of birth, prerogative of age, crowns, sceptres, laurels, but by degree stand in authentic place? Take but degree away, untune that string, and hark what discord follows. Each thing meets in mere oppugnancy. The bounded waters should lift their bosoms higher than the shores, and make a sop of all this solid globe. Strength should be lord of imbecility, and the rude son should strike his father dead. Force should be right, or rather, right and wrong, between whose endless jar justice resides, should lose their names, and so should justice too. Then everything includes itself in power, power into will, will into appetite, and appetite a universal wolf, so doubly seconded with will and power, must make perforce a universal prey, at last eat up itself.
Sigh no more, lady, sigh no more. Men were deceivers ever, one foot in sea and one on shore. To one thing constant never, then sigh not so, but let them go, and be your blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny. Sing no more ditties, sing no more of dungs so dull and heavy. The fraud of man was ever so, since summer first was leafy. Then sigh not so, but let them go, and be you blithe and bonny, converting all your sounds of woe into hey nonny nonny.
How like a winter hath my absence been from thee, the pleasure of the fleeting year! What freezings have I felt, what dark days seen, what old December's bareness everywhere! And yet this time removed was summer's time, the teeming autumn, big with rich increase, bearing the wanton burthen of the prime, like widowed wombs after their lord's decease. Yet this abundant issue seemed to me but hope of orphans and unfathered fruit. For summer and his pleasures wait on thee, and thou away the very birds are mute. Or if they sing, 'tis with so dull a cheer that leaves look pale, dreading the winter's near.
From the age of 8, I acted at the Princess Theatre, managed by Mr. Charles Keene and his wife, for 4 years. I was never out of the bill, except during the run of A Midsummer Night's Dream, when, through an unfortunate accident, I broke my toe. I was playing Puck, my second part on any stage, and had come up through a trap at the end of the last act to give the final speech. My sister Kate was playing Titania that night. Up I came, but not quite up, for the man shut the trapdoor too soon and caught my toe. I screamed. Kate rushed me and banged her foot on the stage, but the man only closed the trap tighter, mistaking the signal. "Oh, Katie, Katie," I cried. "Oh, Nellie, Nellie," said poor Kate helplessly. Then Mrs. Keene came rushing on and made them open the trap and release my poor foot. "Finish the play, dear," she whispered excitedly, "and I'll double your salary." There was Kate, holding me up on one side and Mrs. Keene on the other. Well, I did finish the play in a fashion. The text ran something like this. "If we shadows have offended, oh, Katie, Katie, think but this, and all is mended. Oh, my toe, that you have but slumbered here while these visions did appear. I can't. And this weak and idle theme, no more yielding but a dream. Oh dear, oh dear. Gentles, do not reprehend. Oh. If you pardon, we will mend. Oh, Mrs. Keene." How I got through it, I don't know, but my salary was doubled.
Two households, both alike in dignity, in fair Verona, where we lay our scene. From ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventured, piteous overthrows doth with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love, and the continuance of their parents' rage, which, but their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2-hour traffic of our stage. The which, if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
Sir, I will eat no meat, I'll not drink, sir. If idle talk will once be necessary, I'll not sleep neither. This mortal house I'll ruin, do Caesar what he can. No, sir, that I will not wait, pinioned at your master's court, nor once be chastised with the sober eye of dull Octavia. Shall they hoist me up and show me to the shouting varletry of censuring Rome? Rather a ditch in Egypt be gentle grave unto me. Rather on Nilus mud lay me stuck naked, and let the water flies blow me into abhorring. Rather make my country's high pyramids my gibbet, and hang me up in chains.
My mistress with a monster is in love. Near to her coast and consecrated bower, while she was in a dull and sleeping hour, a crew of patches, rude mechanicals that work for bread upon Athenian stalls, were met together to rehearse a play intended for great Theseus's nuptial day. The shallowest thick-skin of that barren sort, who Pyramus presented in their sport, forsook his scene and entered in a break, when I did him at this advantage take. An ass's knoll I fixed upon his head, so at his sight away his fellows fly. Their sense thus weak, lost with their fears thus strong, they senseless things begin to do them wrong. For briars and thorns at their apparel snatch, some sleeves, some hats from yielders all things catch. I led them on in this distracted fear, and left sweet Pyramus translated there. When in that moment, so it came to pass, Titania waked, and straightway loved an ass.
There is a man haunts the forest that abuses our young plants with carving Rosalind on their barks, hangs odes upon hawthorns and elegies on brambles, all forsooth deifying the name of Rosalind. If I could meet that fancy-monger, I would give him some good counsel, for he seems to have the quotidian of love upon him. There is none of my uncle's marks upon you. He taught me how to know a man in love, in which cage of rushes I am sure you are not prisoner. A lean cheek, which you have not, a blue eye and sunken, which you have not, an unquestionable spirit, which you have not, a beard neglected, which you have not. Oh, but I pardon you for that, for simply your having beard is a younger brother's revenue. But then your hose should be ungartered, your bonnet unbanded, your sleeve unbuttoned, your shoe untied, and everything about you demonstrating a careless desolation. But you are no such man. You are rather point device in your accoutrements, as loving yourself than seeming the lover of any other. Me believe it. You may as soon make her that you love believe it, which I warrant she is apter to do than to confess she does. That is one of the points in the which women still give the lie to their consciences. But in good sooth, are you he that hangs the verses on the trees wherein Rosalind is so admired? And are you so much in love as your rhymes speak? Love is merely a madness, and I tell you, deserves as well a dark house and a whip as madmen do. And the reason why they are not so punished and cured is that the lunacy is so ordinary that whippers are in love too. Yet I profess curing it by counsel.
Now my charms are all overthrown, and what strength I have's mine own, which is most faint. Now 'tis true I must be here confined by you, or sent to Naples. Let me not, since I have my dukedom got, and pardoned the deceiver, dwell in this bare island by your spell. But release me from my bands, with the help of your good hands. Gentle breath of yours my sails must fill, or else my project fails. which was to please. Now I want spirits to enforce, art to enchant, and my ending is despair, unless I be relieved by prayer, which pierces so that it assaults mercy itself and frees all faults. As you from crimes would pardoned be, let your indulgence set me free.
This is an extract from Ben Jonson's eulogy to the memory of my beloved author, Mr. William Shakespeare. Soul of the age, the applause, delight, the wonder of our stage, thou art alive still while thy book doth live, and we have wits to read and praise to give. And though thou hadst small Latin and less Greek, from thence to honour thee I would not seek. He was not of an age, but for all time, and all the muses still were in their prime. Nature herself was proud of his designs, and joyed to wear the dressing of his lines, which were so richly spun, and woven so fit, as since she will vouchsafe no other wit. Yet must I not give nature all. Thy art, my gentle Shakespeare, must enjoy a part. For though the poet's matter nature be, his art doth give the fashion, and that he who casts to write a living line must sweat and strike the second heat upon the muse's anvil, or for the laurel he may gain a scorn. A good poet's made as well as born, and such wert thou. The race of Shakespeare's mind and manners brightly shines in his well-turned and true-filed lines. Sweet swan of Avon, what a sight it were to see thee in our waters yet appear! But stay, I see thee in the heavenly sphere advanced, and made a constellation there. Shine forth, thou star of poets, and with rage or guidance chide or cheer the drooping stage, which since thy flight from hence hath mourned like night, and despair's day, but for thy volume's light.
When that I was but a little tiny boy, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, the foolish thing was but a toy, for the rain it raineth every day. With a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, for the rain it raineth every day. When I came to man's estate, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, against thieves and knaves men shut their gate, for the rain it raineth every day. With a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, for the rain it raineth every day. When I came at last to wife, with a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, a swaggering never could I thrive, for the rain it raineth every day. With a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, the rain it raineth every day. With a hey-ho, the wind and the rain, but that's all when our play is done, and we'll strive to please you every day.
Happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear William. Happy birthday to you.